It's Chase to the Checkered, featuring the NASCAR Winston Racing Series from Jennerstown Speedway. Chase to the Checkered is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Hit the Hut for our new New York Deli and Philly Cheesesteak pizzas. Hi everybody, Mike Nelson along with Steve Richard, and welcome to this week's program. On today's show, you'll see the blockbuster video Twin 35s that will run on July 4th for our Giant Auto Parts Pure Later Late Model Division. We'll also have NASCAR Winston Racing Series feature race highlights for the competitors in our AC-DELCO Pro Stocks, Valvoline Street Stocks, and Steel Pure Stocks. Well, Steve Areno not only one, but two 35-lap bonsai runs for our premier weekly division. That's like going out to Los Alamos when they tested the atomic bomb and having that thing blow up, turn around, look at the scientists and say, yeah, that's great, let's do it again.
Lots of fun, huh? What you're trying to tell me is fasten the safety belt and put on the blast glasses. A bright future for tonight's race, huh? On a more serious note, we've run 9 feature races for our late model division, but we have 6 different winners. So we've been spreading the wins out pretty evenly with one exception. We have one driver with 3 wins. That's Chargin' Charlie Craig. And guess what, Mike? Last time we ran Twin 35s, guess who won them both? Chargin' Charlie. But I think guys like Steve Pellis and Glenn Galt may have something to say tonight.
You bet, and it'll be a fascinating racing event on this week's program, so stay with us. We'll be back with the action after these messages.
Listen to the experts on New York Deli and Philly Cheesesteak pizzas from Pizza Hut.
The potpourri of deli taste is quite assertive.
A giddy tour de force of beef and cheese.
A smorgasbord of innuendo. There's an undercurrent of whimsy here. Goosebumps.
Impetuous.
I honestly had goosebumps.
You gotta try New York Deli and Philly Cheesesteak pizzas, just $4 with any regular price pizza. New from Pizza Hut.
It practically swaggers with confidence.
Saturday, 7 p.m., the new 96.5 KISS FM presents Pizza Hut Night at Jennerstown Speedway. It's a complete NASCAR Winston Racing Series program for the Giant Auto Parts Pure Later Late Models, AC-DELCO Pro Stocks, Valvoline Street Stocks, and Steel Pure Stocks. As always, children 12 and under admitted absolutely free. Gates open at 4, late model time trials at 6:30, and racing at 7 p.m. That's this Saturday. The new 96.5 KISS FM presents Pizza Hut Night at Jennerstown Speedway with the NASCAR Winston Racing Series, where legends are born. There's lots of great reasons to get your auto parts at Giant Auto Parts. Huge selection, friendly, knowledgeable service,
Hi, may I help you?
and everyday low prices. But here's the best part. Giant has the best parts. Giant carries a full line of quality Purolator oil and air filters for almost any car, foreign or domestic, at great everyday low prices. So get to the best part at Giant Auto Parts. There's a Giant Auto Parts near you. Hi folks, back with the first of 2 Twin 35-lap features, the blockbuster-sponsored events for the Giant Auto Parts Pure Later Late Models. I'll look at the lineup. Steve, we're missing somebody out there.
I'll say, Mike, the red number 42 of Chargin' Charlie Craig, conspicuously absent from the starting lineup tonight. He had engine problems, dropped valve in practice laps tonight, and he's become a spectator.
Heartbreaking situation for the charging one, but the rest of the field, 26 cars strong, comes up to speed, and we begin this first blockbuster video 35-lap main. And Barry Audi jumps to the point position with Bobby Henry behind him. Look at Tim Ice on the low side of the 32 of Glenn Galt.
Separate themselves from the rest of the field. Notice Tim Ice driving the low line. He's had handling problems so far in 1992. Really has the car stuck on the track tonight. Has it dialed in very well. Notice he drops below the banking, makes the car stick in the turns, and stays right up with Glenn Galt, although Glenn does seem to have a bit of an advantage as he makes the pass down the back chute.
The field continues to string out down the back straightaway with some drivers choosing different lines. It's still Audi in the lead, but look at this. Tim Ice dives to the low side of Glenn Galt. Now we're going to move ahead in this event. Now we're coming around to lap 10 in the race. Glenn Galt's on the move, goes to the low side of Bobby Henry's automobile, but Henry holds him off in this charge. Tim Ice still on the back bumper of the 32 of Glenn Galt. We're going to take it into the live call. Barry Audi has all the cars stacked up behind him, race fans. Audi having problems now. Everybody jammed up behind him. Look at this. Henry ready to strike. Galt ready to strike. Ice right there. Here comes Clay Houston. Steve Pellis on the outside. He begins to make his strike in a battle for fifth. And Clay Houston denies him the opportunity. Race fans, here comes Galt. He goes to the low side of Bobby Henry. And Glenn Galt breaks the floodgate open for the bridesmaid spot out of turn 4. Tim Ice trying to do the same. They work into turns 1 and 2. And the Iceman strikes. Goes to the low side of Henry. It's a struggle for the third place spot. Pellis is right there. Ice still tries the low side.
And as ice goes low, here comes Steve Pellis on the high side, right up on the door panel of Clayt Husted. 4 cars all running hot and heavy out of turns 1 and 2 into the front straight. Mike, that's not Clayt's normal car.
No, it isn't. That is Roger Coral's automobile. Clayt subbing in that car till he gets his back from a crash he suffered at the Clearfield Mountain Speedway a few weeks back. Anyway, here's the look at our lead automobiles. It continues to be the Stoystown Auto Wreckers 75 of Jenners, Pennsylvania's Barry Audi, holding off the challenges of Glenn Galt. Galt looks like he's wanting to groom the low side on this speedway, but Audi's able to close the door, as we say, when we work through the turns.
This has to really be a treat for Barry Audi. Barry's had all kind of problems in years past running here at Jennerstown, the last few years anyway. This year, he seems to be off for one of his best starts. He's had trouble making the top 10 in points in the Northeast region of the NASCAR Winston Racing Series, Mike. This year, it looks like he's got a chance to make that banquet in Nashville.
That man behind him knows what it's all about, Steve. The Hubbard High pilot, Glenn Galt, continues to pressure Audi. He is the 1988 NASCAR Northeast Regional Champion. And behind him, the Hodge Transmission 77, the Camaro-bodied automobile, Bobby Henry, continues to pressure. You know, for Bobby, he's got to feel good about running this well early in the event because he had all kinds of mechanical problems in that automobile, relegating him out of chances for possible checkered flag so far in the 1992 season. And back last year was just a frustrating year for him.
7 cars all battling for a top 5 position. Here comes Glenn Galt making a move on Audi. Things getting hot.
Turns 1 and 2. Glenn Galt works the low line. Pellis goes up high. Galt still working down the low line on Audi. It's a battle for the lead down the back straightaway. Side by side, wheel to wheel, into turns 3 and 4. And Glenn Galt trying to muscle to the low side. Audi hangs up high. You could hardly put a notebook between the 2 automobiles in a battle for the lead spot. They work into turns 1 and 2. We are still fender to fender, lug nut to lug nut. Barry Audi trying everything to hang on to the outside. Galt's got the low side working. He's trying to break some daylight between himself and Audi as they go into turns 3 and 4. And on lap 18, Glenn Galt takes over the lead, race fans. Car owner Larry Zalata and the crew of the American Title and Trust Orange Blossom Special Machine of Glenn Galt have to be tickled pink with him making this early race move. Now we move on to lap 24, the first yellow in the event, and Rick Jock's automobile. Talk about being short in the pants, Steve. Look at the back end of that automobile. But on a more serious note, the fuel cell did its job. There was nothing spilled on the back straight.
Unfortunately, that will knock Rick out of racing for the rest of the night. Back to racing action. Here's the last lap and the chase to the checkered.
They dive into turns 1 and 2. Ice tries it on Audi. Right under him. Audi trying Galt. Down the back straightaway. The battle for the lead position. Here we go. Working into 3 and 4. Glenn Galt in the lead. Audi on the low side. Cannot make the move. The checker will go to Glenn Galt. The driver of the Orange Blossom Special, Glenn Galt, in victory lane in his first leg for the blockbuster video Twin 35s for the John Auto Parts Pure Later late models. And there's how they finished.
And, Mike, because we're running Twin 35s tonight, our late model division is qualifying a little bit differently this year than in years past. Let's take a look at that in the race break.
This race break is brought to you by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline.
Since 1987, all of the local racing divisions here at Jennerstown Speedway have qualified for their feature race starting positions by running heat races. The AC-DELCO Pro Stocks, the Valvoline Street Stocks, and the Steel Pure Stocks continue to do that here in 1992. However, the Giant Auto Parts Pure Later late models are qualifying differently this year. They're running time trials, and here's how that works. Each late model competitor is given 2 complete laps by themselves to run as fast as they can. Each lap is timed to within 1/100th of a second with the use of an electric eye system. The fastest of the 2 laps is counted. Now, after each car has been timed, the 10 fastest cars are lined up by luck of the draw to run in a fast dash race of 10 laps. Now, the order of finish of the fast dash will determine the exact starting order of the late model feature. The cars that didn't make the fast dash, they'll run heat races to determine their starting positions from positions 11 back. The time trial system gives race fans a chance to see how fast each car and driver is on an open track and away from traffic.
This race break has been brought to you by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline.
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology, but the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
Listen to the experts on New York Deli and Philly cheesesteak pizzas from Pizza Hut.
The potpourri of deli taste is quite assertive.
A giddy tour de force of beef and cheese.
A smorgasbord of innuendo. There's an undercurrent of whimsy here. Goosebumps.
Impetuous.
I honestly had goosebumps.
You gotta try New York Deli and Philly cheesesteak pizzas, just $4 with any regular price pizza. New from Pizza Hut.
It practically swaggers with confidence.
There's smoke, there's fire. The surefire performance of AC-DELCO. We don't just race, we win.
Blockbuster Video, 25-lap main for the AC-DELCO Pro Stocks. Next up on the show, and there's the lineup of the first 3 rows.
And the heat race qualification system puts Jeff Dunmeyer, Ron Delano Jr., and Brad Smales in the middle of the pack. We'll have to watch them as they come up to speed.
Here they come, Stephen. Another parkway jump into turns 1 and 2. And it's a drag race out of turn 2 with Kelly Shaw's taking over the point position. Look at the middle of the pack, though. There goes Brad Smales into 41, making a move to the low side. He's just behind the 8 of Doug Olson.
The black number 20 car on the outside of Smales and Olson, that's Dave Haupt, Mike. You know, and this is only his 2nd week behind the wheel of that race car.
Yeah, he's never raced before, but he's doing a heck of a lot better job than you'd ever do.
Sure, thanks, Mr. Race Break. Remember, it was you couldn't even hold the turns at 45 in last week's race break.
We're on lap 4 in a battle for the top 4 positions, but I still think I would have done better than you would have. Anyway, look at Jerry Wisner. There's another guy that's impressive out there in 2nd place position, but he has his hands full. He's trying to get around Kelly Shaw's 77, and behind them are Brad Cole in the 68, and the other Brad, that's Smales, in the 41.
But it's Kelly Shawless on the point. He's had some problems in past weeks running the point position, and look at this. Here comes Jerry Wisner. Let's go to the live call.
Here comes Jerry Wisner, race fans. The Mountaineer State driver trying to make a move. We're rubbing fenders out there in the AC-DELCO Pro Stocks. Look at this battle for the lead. Now Cole comes up to the 2nd place spot. On lap 6, we dive into 1 and 2. Brad Cole begins door knocking on the 77 to show us the 41 of Brad Smales right there. Smales says, I'm going to take the low side. Cole committed to the outside. They battle wheel to wheel for the bridesmaid spot. Cole on the ride of his life, working the outside of the racing surface. We're 3 wide to battle for the lead. Oh, almost near disaster.
The yellow flag came out, though, while this was going on in turn 4 for the 2 automobiles that Gip Patton, 70, and the 25 of Bill Krause. Now, Steve, we're going to move on. This is lap 12, and another yellow flag incident happens. Out of turn 4, watch the yellow car. Ron Delano Jr. gets sideways, overcorrects, buys the outside retaining wall, and a shower of sparks down the front straightaway. Some other cars involved, including the 84 of Jerry Wisner in this yellow flag incident.
Let's take another look at the incident from our turn 3 camera. Ron Delano Jr. in the 62 car there starts to lose it, overcorrects the car, smashes the outside retaining wall. Sparks fly, drifts inside, down toward the inside retaining wall. Butch Durkis, meanwhile, gets involved, has a slight oil fire under the carriage.
We're back to green flag racing. This is on lap 13, the restart, and it's Brad Cole in the point position with the other Brad Smales behind him. The Lehman, Pennsylvania driver begins the pressure to the low side. He sits up. Steve, this car can stick all over the racetrack, and he really makes a go to the low side of the Pizza Hut 68 machine and takes over the point position as they exit out of turn 2.
But the yellow flags continue to plague this AC-DELCO Pro Stock event. We're going to jump ahead to its lap 17, back straightaway. It's Butch Durkis spinning out, sitting in the middle of the racing group. Doug Olson hammers him. Kelly Shawless spins out. Fortunately, only the 2 cars really involved with the collision. Everybody else gets around it, but we just can't seem to get away from the yellows.
It's on to the last lap, Steve. Here's the battle for 3rd with Chuck Kessler and Bob Kossel's automobile trying to hold off Dunmeyer. But watch this. We'll pan over, and you can see the lead that Brad Smales has as he comes around to pick up the checker in this blockbuster 25-lap main over the 68 of Brad Cole's. There is Smales in victory lane.
And here's a look at our top 5 finishers. Note the number 5 spot, the number 20 car of Dave Haupt of Somerset. Not bad.
See, I told you could drive better than you would do it, Steve.
Oh, go ahead, rub it in.
Speaking about rubbing it in, here's a division that's not bashful about that, the Valvoline Street Stocks. A look at the top 3 rows in this blockbuster video 20-lap main event.
And as starter Ron Rudd drops the green flag and we come up to speed, keep your eyes in the middle of the pack due to our handicap system of starting in the heat race system. That's where all the hot shoes are.
The drag race up front, though, sees Boyd Wingert up high in the Ford product and the Chrysler. Tony Baum to the low side. He's able to take over the lead down the back straightaway.
Hey, Sherlock Holmes, remember last week you were going to find out how Alan Angelichio got the name the Wild Man?
Why, yes, my dear Watson. I was talking to a lady who was a fan of Alan Angelicchio's, and she gave him that nickname and told me about it, and I kept using it over the PA, and it stuck.
Speaking of making things stick, look at Jason Mignon in the 66 car. Goes down off the banking, makes the car stick into the turn, and his push for the lead. A mere few laps later, it's still the battle for the lead. Tony Baum at the point. In second place, it's Jason Filet-Mignon. And outside of him, Boyd Winger with a good run. And here comes the wild man, Alan Angelicchio, heading into the turns. Whoops, Boyd Winger gets a bit loose, hangs onto the car, but boy, he drops a lot of positions real quick.
Filet-Mignon. Well, listen to this ham sandwich. We're going on to the battle on lap 8 for the lead. Watch this down the back straight. The pot begins to boil. We go to the live call.
Coral works the outside of the 66 automobile. Jason Mignon, they get together. We continue green flag racing. Look at this out of 4. Oh, almost near disaster on the front straightaway. And everybody shuffling in positions. It's Ron Coral up to second. Here comes Jack Satosky. He moves into third. Mignon moves back to fourth. The Brian Audi machine, the Rose Lumber 75, up to 5th. Now Coral begins to strike to the low side of Baum. It's a battle for the point position. Ron Coral and the Valley Truck and Trailer Service 25 moves into the lead spot.
And Ron Coral says, no one's going to catch me tonight. We'll move ahead. Last lap of the event down the front chute. It's Ron Coral picking up his first career victory at Jennerstown in 1992. There's Ron in the victory circle.
The checker of the blockbuster 20-lap main in the Valvoline Street Stocks for Ron Coral breaks the jinx he's had at Jennerstown after running so well in the top 5. And there is a look at the top 5.
And back to victory lane, it's Ron Coral. Got to be a big thrill for all of his pit crew members and his friends and family. Moving ahead, it's our Steel Pure Stocks in their 15-lap main event. There's a look at the front 3 rows in this blockbuster video main event.
And the Jennerstown handicap system with the heat race qualifying puts a lot of the talent in the middle of the field. Watch this as the field tightens up out of turn 4, Steve. Starter Ron Brutt drops the green flag, and Conrad Presnell comes up the speed right away, trying to leave the rest of the field in his dust.
In his dust, Mike? This is asphalt, not dirt.
Well, there's some track dry material out there sometimes.
Sometimes. Anyway, we're going to have problems getting this event started. Courtney Block spins out, heading into turn 1. We'll regroup the field, and we're going to restart it all over again, and the same thing happens. Here comes Conrad Presnell jumping out to an early lead.
Look at this, Steve. 3, 4 wide at times down the front straightaway. And as we work through turns 1 and 2, oh, we've got trouble again. There's Sean the Bullet Bean. He ends up getting crossed up with another automobile. And we'll try it again. Maybe the third time's a charm, as Conrad Presnell says, how many times do I have to put people in my dust?
Dust or no dust, Conrad Presnell says, the lead is mine, and I'm going to hang on to it. But look what's going on just behind him. If he could look in a rearview mirror, he'd see nothing but, yeah, heavy metal down the back chute, weaving in and out, juking for position. This entry-level field of pure stocks really is quite an exciting division for all the spectators to watch.
We'll roll on in this event, Steve, to lap 8. The battle for the lead. Conrad Presnell down the back straightaway continues to hold on to it. A rookie in this division. To the low side is Rick Sheeler. He's seen the checkered many times in the Steel Pure Stocks. Outside of him, the flying sign painter, Dave Brunell. As they come flying down the front straight, Presnell, he's been registered with us for so many years, but this is actually his first season able to campaign on the pavement. He's got to be excited about the lead. So excited, it's worth taking it to the call.
Dave Brunell down the back straightaway with the wing turned up. Here comes Rick Sheeler. Sheeler says, I'm boxed in. No, I'm going to make it 3 wide. Oh, look at this in a battle for the lead. And Presnell closes the door on Sheeler. Brunell continues to work the high side of the racing surface. Cannot make the move. Judy Shaw us the left automobile to the low side. All the leaders get through cleanly. It turns 1 and 2. It separates everybody. And Rick Sheeler takes advantage of the miscue. Closes up to the back bumper of Conrad Presnell. Presnell's trying for a career first feature win. 10 laps down. Could it be? Now Sheeler goes to the outside of Presnell. Presnell says, no, I want to win this thing. Out of turn 4, Presnell trying for that career first win. But here comes Sheeler hooked up, high, wide, and handsome. Into turns 1 and 2. Presnell to the low side. We get together with the leaders. Oh, look out, race fans.
That has to be heartbreaking for Conrad Presnell. Also collects Mark Berkey in the incident. We're going to move ahead to what should have been the last lap of the event. Right there, we take the white flag from starter Ron Brutt. But Conrad Presnell, again, involved in an incident on the back straight. And race fans, look at the wall on the upper part of your screen. It's actually knocked over. There's a better shot of it. Conrad Presnell spun went into the outside retaining wall, knocked it over, and you can see the front end damage to his car. Fortunately, he's okay. That brings out a red checkered flag situation, so we'll end the race with the positions that were running at the next to the last lap, and that gives Rick Sheeler the win.
The hopes of a young rookie turned to disaster for Conrad Presnell, but he's okay, like you said, and that's great, Steve. A quick look at the top 5. I've never seen a red checker at Jennerstown before since they paved in '87. Stay with us. There's more action coming up after this.
Just because Stihl builds some of the most dependable chainsaws in the world, a lot of people think that's all we do. But all across the country, from the firehouse to the farmhouse, from ballparks to backyards, more and more homeowners and professionals have discovered that Stihl power tools stand out in any field. Visit your local Stihl dealer today and find out why. You may be in for a powerful surprise. If you depend on power tools, depend on Stihl.
Saturday, 7 p.m., the new 96.5 KISS FM presents Pizza Hut Night at Jennerstown Speedway. It's a complete NASCAR Winston Racing Series program for the Giant Auto Parts Pure Leader Late Models, AC-DELCO Pro Stocks, Valvoline Street Stocks, and Steel Pure Stocks. As always, children 12 and under admitted absolutely free. Gate 7 to 4, late model time trials at 6:30, and racing at 7 p.m. That's this Saturday. The new 96.5 KISS FM presents Pizza Hut Night at Jennerstown Speedway with the NASCAR Winston Racing Series, where legends are born. There's lots of great reasons to get your auto parts at Giant Auto Parts. Huge selection, friendly, knowledgeable service.
Hi, may I help you?
And everyday low prices. But here's the best part. Giant has the best parts. Giant carries a full line of quality Purolator oil and air filters for almost any car, foreign or domestic, at great everyday low prices. So get to the best part at Giant Auto Parts. There's a Giant Auto Parts near you. Back with the final blockbuster-sponsored event, this one, the second leg of the Twin 35s for the Giant Auto Parts Purolator Late Models.
And as we take a look at our front 3 rows, we'll tell you we got our starting order for this feature by inverting the top 10 finishers from our previous feature. And you'll notice that there are a couple of cars missing, Tim Ice and Steve Pellis. Tim Ice out for this race because of mechanical problems. Steve Pellis, his back bothering him a bit due to the accident at Motordrome last year.
Rick Boyer in the pole position. His inability to come up to speed has completely changed the complexion of this event as the outside row has moved, and it's given the 36 of Tom Erickson a point position, followed by Rick Miller and Michigan's Jerry McCare, who's with us. Glenn Galt the opportunity. He started 8th because of Pellis and Ice not being able to start this event instead of 10th. He's already moved up to the 4th place position.
That has to be very disheartening for the number 63 car of Bob Cibala, who was starting 2nd row inside. That inside row not being able to go. I'm sure he had high hopes for this race. He ran a good first feature, but he had no place to go this time around, and he stuck back in the pack. Meanwhile, it's Tom Erickson heading the charge with Rick Miller and Jerry McCara hot on his heels. McCara making his first appearance at Jennerstown in '92, looking pretty good, Mike.
Let's move on to lap 7. Here we are, Steve. The top 4 automobiles nose to tail. Now watch Glenn Galt as he starts to go to the low side of McCarran in the battle for 3rd.
Glenn Galt with a serious bid for the battle for 3rd. McCara up high. Here comes Galt down low with McCara out of turn 4. Glenn Galt a man on the move. Jerry McCara stays high in the Dream Racing Enterprise 38. Glenn Galt continues the low side on the racing surface. They continue side by side, wheel to wheel, and Galt breaks through for the 3rd place position.
And now that Glenn Galt has Jerry McCara out of his way, he sets his sight on Rick Miller running 2nd. And as they come out of the turns, Rick Miller sets his sights on Tom Erickson. And heading into the turns, he makes the move on the low side. The window stays open, and here comes Glenn Galt. Right on the heels of Rick Miller, he assumes the bridesmaid's position. Erickson, he's back in 3rd.
These two pavement specialists will continue their duel as we move on to lap 7. Now, Glenn Galt works the low side of Miller. He knows that Miller in past weeks has been washing up later in the events. So we'll take this one out of turn 4, down the front straightaway, and go right in to the live call.
Miller denies Galt the opportunity. Galt sets up for a low side dive out of turn 2. He commits to the low line. Miller right there. They drag race down the back straightaway into turn 3 and 4. It's Miller and Galt, wheel to wheel, lug nut to lug nut, and Glenn Galt muscles his way around out of turn 4 into the lead.
And Glenn Galt will establish himself in that point position. We're going to move to a 3rd place battle late in the event. This has been going on for laps. It involves Jerry McCara, Bob Cibala, and Bobby Henry as of late. Originally, it was just McCara and Cibula, but Bobby Henry has joined the field as these two have been duking it out for the number 3 spot. Interestingly, all 3 drivers running Camaro-bodied cars have not seen that many Camaro-bodied cars as of late running the asphalt, and rumor has it no love lost between McCara and Cibula as they drive door panel to door panel down the front chute.
Steve, make that earlobe the earlobe, but right now McCara's been able to hold on to the 3rd place spot. Let's talk about him for a minute. He's been racing for many a decades and is somewhat in semi-retirement while campaigning for car owner Russ Drain. He's actually been here 3 other times, but has never been in competition, usually because of inclement weather, or in one case they had problems with the racing machine. But he has raced in the mid-70s with ASA Racing. In fact, I think he has 4 victories with that circuit. Now we move on in this event. It's been all Glenn Galt the stories. He's going to come around for a clean sweep. Look at this out of turn 4. A commanding lead for Glenn Galt, and he picks up the checker in the 2nd leg of the blockbuster twin 35s for the John Auto Parts Pure Later late models.
And here's a look at our top 5 finishers. Notice positions 2 through 5. 2 young Lions bookending 2 veterans, McCara and Cibula. Doubling his pleasure with twin 35 wins, there's Glenn Galt. We'll be back after this.
Just because steel builds some of the most dependable chainsaws in the world, a lot of people think that's all we do. But all across the country, from the firehouse to the farmhouse, from ballparks to backyards, more and more homeowners and professionals have discovered that steel power tools stand out in any field. Visit your local steel dealer today and find out why. You may be in for a powerful surprise. If you depend on power tools, depend on steel.
Al Unser Jr. knows the corkscrew at Laguna Seca with his eyes closed. Fortunate, considering it's a blind turn. Mark Martin knows if he lets someone cross his wake at 200 miles per hour, his car may be doing the lambada. And Joe Amato knows that at 296 miles per hour, he must pull his chute at precisely the right moment to keep from becoming an astronaut. Apparently, it is what you know.
There's smoke, there's fire. The surefire performance of AC-DELCO. We don't just race, we win.
That concludes racing for this week. Don't forget to obtain your Jennerstown Speedway reserve seat $2 discount coupons that are redeemable at all race events up to September 19th at participating Giant Auto Parts stores. Your place for the best parts, where you find Pure Later products, the first name in oil filters. You'll also find them at participating Keystone Steel dealers, Steel, the world's largest chainsaw manufacturer, and at participating Western Pennsylvania Auto Parts stores, where you find quality AC-DELCO parts. AC-DELCO powers the winners. Also at participating Western Pennsylvania Pizza Hut locations. Hit the Hut for our new New York deli and Philly cheesesteak pizzas. And finally at participating Valvoline instant oil changes, Napa Auto Parts stores, and Western Pennsylvania Auto Parts stores, where you find Valvoline motor oil. People who know use Valvoline. From all of us at Jennerstown Speedway, this is Mike Nelson along with Steve Richard, wishing you a great week, and we'll see you at the races. Chase to the Checkered, featuring the NASCAR Winston Racing Series from Jennerstown Speedway, has been brought